Part 3. Summer. The icy figure spends the morning arranging her snowflakes and crystals. She doesn't have any plans until the afternoon, but she shouldn't be wasting time like this, even if she has the time to. It took everyone a little bit to realize they had broken up, to realize they are avoiding each other. But when someone finally realized what happened, they went to the orange light first. It stings, but that was probably the right choice. She's not exactly sure what the light said, but everyone has picked a side at this point. Some began avoiding her, others began avoiding the light. A more extreme version of the time leading up to the breakup. They try to be quiet around her, but she still manages to hear whispers. Everyone is shocked, everyone is trying to place blame, everyone is trying to figure out what happened. No one knows why they broke up. No one knows that she has a storm core. For a moment, she wondered if the light meant to hold it over her. But Orange wouldn't do that. As much as the ice elemental hates him, hates how it ended, she knows the sunset-colored light isn't cruel. That thought bothers her like the afterbursts of a shadow kiss. It's not as bad as the initial sickly sweet hit, but the feeling of fading lingers far after that initial taste. The ice elemental was convinced a long time ago that no one would order a shadow kiss if it didn't have its dreamy, romantic name. The ice elemental floats out of her home. She doesn't know where she intends to go, but she needs to get out. The ice elemental has many reasons that she typically carefully plans her excursions in advance. Some are simple, some are less so. Some are easily understood, some not so much. Most she knows before she goes out, but sometimes she doesn't find them until it's too late. This is one of those times. The reason is following her core. She hates that phrase almost as much as she hates that she went here. The glass display is still busy with people expressing their disappointment. Soon enough, the topic will grow dull, and all that will be left are those looking for a forgotten display to pass a few moments of eternity with. And the few who fell in love with it. There's something reassuring about that elementals can love flawed pieces like this. One might even think it applies to loving other elementals. The concept of the fairy garden is a world of fairies with houses hidden in flower buds. If you look closely through the clear petals, you can see small, intricate buildings, each personalized to match the fairy sitting outside. Some more impressive than others, but for every lackluster idea, less polished or even sloppy house, there's a unique idea or a near-perfect execution. The ice elemental would be lying if she said she didn't know why this was overexposed. Why people placed it on a pedestal. It's an interesting idea with good technical skills made by a glass elemental. But she would also be lying if she said she didn't understand the backlash. The idea behind the concept isn't clear. It seems whimsical, more for the sake of whimsy than anything else. The artist's refusal to explain her work was initially met with praise, but it might have been better in the long run to give elementals a narrative to run with. It would have given the whimsy a meaning, a moment beyond it being an overrated disappointment. That's probably the main reason, but the ice elemental can't help but consider another. The artist isn't smart. That might be a bit harsh, but the display is made up of clear flower buds and more opaque ones, more impressive houses and less impressive ones. The obvious creative choice would be to place the impressive houses in the clear flower buds, and the less impressive houses in the opaque ones. It's obvious to hide shortcomings. The ice elemental knows this probably wouldn't have changed the sentiment, but it's such an obvious choice she can't help but question why she didn't. She continues through the display, peering through the flowers, staying longer than she did before. When the elemental she went with the first time questioned why she wanted to leave so soon, she mentioned that large displays without narratives like this were best enjoyed as short excursions. Yet here she is, blowing through everything it has to offer. She'll be better equipped for conversations about the display in the future, so it's not a complete loss. Inside one of the flowers, she sees a fairy seated next to a grotesque monster. It looks like it's made of mittens, but the shape doesn't resemble an elemental. It looks more like one of the old creatures. A wolf, if she remembers correctly. Perhaps there is a meaning in this display. Still, it wasn't executed properly, but that's all the more reason to consider the artist promising, even if she isn't the brightest. The storm elemental wishes she could view her own core that way, promising even if flawed, even if inexperienced. But storms are destructive. Speckles of water appear on the glass and drip down like teardrops. Elementals begin to leave, heading to cover or displays meant to be viewed in the rain. The ice elemental remains as the rain continues. She watches it collect and drip down the petals of the flowers. It's warm. Without the wind, when the downpour is lighter, when the rain isn't so cold, it's almost pleasant. She wishes her own core were like that. Warmer, lighter, not so erratic. It isn't until later that night, with the sky clear, that it dawns on her. That was the first time she didn't wish her core was something other than a storm. That was the first time she was content with being a storm. The rest of the night goes by in a daze as the realization sinks in. She can't change her core, but she can mold it into what she wants to be. The next day, she lightens her schedule for the foreseeable future and gets to work.